with Maria and welcome to SC Global News. From the moving story of the little saint in heaven, baby Livia Maria, who spent her short life in the NICU, surrounded by the deep faith of her parents, to the brothers from Pennsylvania who have been ordained to Catholic priesthood just a week apart, we have many stories to cover. Baby Livia Maria, born in Brazil with severe health complications, spent her short life in the NICU, surrounded by her parents' deep faith and prayers of thousands. Her parents, Fabio and Fernanda, had holy masses celebrated at her bedside, hoping for a miracle and drawing spiritual support from around the country. Despite her struggles, Livia passed away on May 28th, and her parents now remember her as a little saint in heaven.
Livia Maria, a 5-month-old baby who had been hospitalized since birth due to severe health complications, passed away on Wednesday, May 28th. Her parents, Fabio Henrique and Fernanda Sasso Giolo, had requested holy masses to be celebrated at her Nicu bedside. Livia's father, Fabio, announced her passing on Instagram, thanking all those who had interceded for their daughter. He encouraged the faithful to turn this network of intercession into a great praise and thanksgiving to God. In his post, he wrote, quote, "Now she's a little saint in heaven," end quote. Born on January 10th in Brazil, Livia was taken to the NICU shortly after birth due to multiple health complications, including a brain malformation and a cyst located between the hemispheres of her brain. Her parents, devout Catholics, had her baptized immediately. The sacrament was performed by Father Marlon Musiu, who was hospitalized in the same facility. Father Marlon provided spiritual and emotional support to the family throughout Livia's treatment. On May 10th, he also celebrated a holy mass for baby Livia at the hospital. Despite intensive care, Livia's condition worsened over the following months. She endured numerous medical crises, including cardiac arrests, intubation, seizures, infections, and anemia. Clinging to hope, her parents invited others to join them in praying for a miracle through the intercession of Venerable Guido Schaefer, a Brazilian doctor, seminarian, and surfer who is on the path to sainthood. As word of Livia's struggle spread, prayers began pouring in from around the world, offering strength to her family during their trial. However, with no signs of improvement, Livia was moved to palliative care. When doctors asked if there was anything more they could do, the couple made a singular request that another holy mass be celebrated in the NICU. On May 25th, Father Victor Hugo celebrated mass at an altar set before Livia's hospital bed. Her parents stood beside her, offering gratitude and glory to God even in the midst of their suffering. Just days after this Eucharistic celebration, Livia Maria passed away. Her funeral is scheduled for Thursday, May 29th.
Today, we bring to you the extraordinary story of Colombian Missionary, a woman of deep faith and fearless heart who gave her life for the forgotten people in the Amazon jungle. Now, almost 4 decades later, her sacrifice is being formally recognized by the Vatican. This is the story of Sister Inés Arango Velasquez, now declared venerable by Pope Leo XIV. Her life was a journey of faith, her death a testament to love, and her legacy is eternal.
Born on April 6, 1937, in the bustling Colombian city of Medellin, Inés Arango Velasquez was drawn to religious life from a young age. She joined the Capuchin Tertiary Sisters of Holy Family, a Franciscan congregation devoted to the poor, the sick, and the outcast. For more than 20 years, Sister Inés served faithfully in Colombian schools and hospitals. But in 1977, she felt called to a more radical mission to the dense, dangerous, and nearly untouched rainforest of eastern Ecuador, home to some of the world's most isolated indigenous peoples. She arrived in the Apostolic Vicariate of Aguarico, deep in the Ecuadorian Amazon, a region rich in life but scarred by poverty, disease, and the slow encroachment of oil interests. There she began her work among the Waorani people, learning their language, nursing their sick, and offering not religion as a force of conquest but as a ministry of presence. But nearby, the Takairi, an untouched and fiercely independent tribe, They had retreated into the forest decades earlier to escape colonization and maintain their way of life. Contact with outsiders often ended in blood. Yet, by the mid-1980s, oil companies had begun carving roads into their territory. The danger was imminent. Ines Arango and her bishop Alejandro Labaca Ugarte believed that Takayuri deserved not just respect but protection. They also knew the risk. In 1987, ignoring repeated warnings, they boarded a helicopter and flew into Takayuri territory to deliver a message of peace. They were unarmed, they carried only gifts, machetes, and medicines, and they carried the hope that dialogue could triumph over fear. But on July 21st, 1987, their bodies were found, pierced by spears. They had been killed by the very people they came to protect. The world mourned, the church wept, but the forest, they said, stood still. For in giving their lives, Sister Ines and Bishop Labaca fulfilled the gospel words, "Greater love has no one than this, that they lay down their life for their friends." Their deaths were not the end of a mission, but the seed of a legacy. In the decades that followed, their story was preserved by fellow missionaries, the Wawarani and environmental advocates. Calls for their canonization began quietly and grew steadily. And now, nearly 40 years later, Pope Leo XIV has declared Sisters Ines Arango Velasquez venerable, recognizing her life of heroic virtue and her offering of life in defense of indigenous dignity. This declaration is the first step toward sainthood, a recognition not only of martyrdom, but of moral courage, cultural respect, and ecological justice. In Laetitia, in Quito, in Medellin, and across the Amazon basin, the faithful gather in prayer, not for her death, but for what her life continues to teach us. That love is fearless, that the forgotten must be remembered, and that true holiness may still dwell, barefoot and quiet, deep in the heart of the forest.
The Vatican gardeners have created a floral representation of the Pope's coat of arms on the lawn before the Vatican's governing headquarters. Workers spent about 2 weeks planting and repositioning the flowers and plants to create this masterpiece. Visitors exploring Vatican Gardens and the top of St. Peter's Square will be able to see this emblem. The Holy Father's coat of arms is a clear reflection of his Augustinian roots and the values he seeks to promote during his pontificate. With the election of a new pope, tradition calls for the creation of a unique papal coat of arms. After his election as pope on May 8th, the Holy Father officially announced his coat of arms and motto on May 10th, 2025. The Holy Father's coat of arms is a clear reflection of his Augustinian roots and the values he seeks to promote during his pontificate. Well, the churches in Italy will soon be replacing the metal shield bearing the coat of arms of Pope Francis with the shield of Pope Leo XIV. But the Vatican gardeners have already made the switch. Workers spent about 2 weeks planning and rearranging evergreens, flowers, and plants to form a massive botanical depiction of the pontiff's shield on the sloping lawn before the Vatican's governing headquarters. Visitors exploring Vatican Gardens or those climbing the top of St. Peter's Square will be able to see the emblem. They kept the same frame around the emblem. The green tiara is shaped from dwarf boxwood. The golden key is made of Unanimous aureus, commonly known as Japanese spindle, which maintains its bright color with regular pruning. The silver key is represented by a silver curry plant, and the red cord tying the keys is formed with blood leaf in summer and horned pansy in winter. The shield is divided diagonally into 2 sections. The upper half features a blue background with white lilies, symbolizing Virgin Mary and also the pontiff's French heritage. The lower half of the shield has a light background and displays an image that recalls the order of Saint Augustine, a closed book with a heart pierced by an arrow. To form the blue background of the upper half of the shield, gardeners reused 400 blue dwarf azuretums from the Pope Francis's design. The white lily at the center was crafted using 50 silver curry plants. The lower half of the shield features a backdrop made of 400 nightlife red begonias. The image of the book was created in collaboration with a Vatican Metal Workshop, which created a metal frame in the shape of a closed book. Gardeners then filled the frame with reddish volcanic gravel to represent the book's cover and white gravel for its pages. The heart pierced by an arrow placed on top of the book was formed using vibrant red blood leaf plants. Pope Leo XIV have reinstated the tradition of awarding a conclave bonus to Vatican employees in recognition of their service during the sere vacante period. This long-standing custom, observed by newly elected popes, serves as a gesture of appreciation for the dedication and extra work of Vatican employees in the period between the pope's death and the election of a new pope. Around 5,000 staff members from the Roman Curia and various Vatican institutions, including Vatican Museum, Pharmacy, Library, and Vatican Media, will receive an additional €500 in their June salaries. Pope Leo XIV has restored the conclave bonus given to Vatican employees for their service during the sere vacante period. The employees will receive a bonus of €500 in their June paychecks. Around 5,000 staff working for the Roman Curia and state institutions such as Vatican Museums, the Vatican Pharmacy, the Vatican Library, and Vatican Media will receive the bonus. The custom of giving conclave bonus by the newly elected Pope is seen as a gesture of gratitude towards the employees for working overtime in the weeks following the death of a pope until the election of a new one. During Pope's audience with the Roman Curia and Vatican staff, the Holy Father expressed his high regard for the men and women who form the different working communities of the Vatican. He said, quote, "To work in the Roman Curia means to contribute to keeping the memory of the Apostolic See alive. Each one of you gives your contribution, carrying out your daily work and commitment, and also with faith, because faith and prayer are like salt for food. They impart flavor." End quote. The beneficiaries of this bonus will also include men and women who work in the Vatican's bookstore, clothing stores, gas stations, and post office, along with the Holy See's other lay and religious staff. In 2013, when Pope Francis was elected as the 266th Pope, the tradition was temporarily suspended as Pope Francis redirected the monetary gift to papal charities and welfare institutions as a sign of the Church's concern for the people in need. However, Pope Francis approved a monthly bonus of €300 for employees with 3 or more children in January 2025. During the 2005 sere vacante, following the death of Pope John Paul II, Vatican employees received a €1,000 conclave bonus from Pope Benedict XVI in recognition of their additional work during the transition period. Two brothers from Pennsylvania have been ordained to Catholic priesthood just 1 week apart. Father Robert and Father Michael Bollinger, raised in a devout Catholic family, followed parallel yet unique paths to their vocations. Their back-to-back ordinations are a rarity and a moving testament of faithful to God.
Father Michael Bollinger and Father Robert Bollinger, two brothers from the same family, were ordained to the priesthood just 1 week apart in the United States of America. 29-year-old Michael was ordained for the Neo-Catechumenal Way on May 24th at the Cathedral Basilica of the Sacred Heart in Newark, New Jersey. Cardinal Joseph W. Tobin of the Archdiocese of Newark ordained Father Michael, while his brother, Father Robert Bollinger, vested him. Father Robert was ordained a week earlier on May 17th at the Cathedral Basilica of Saints Peter and Paul in Philadelphia by Archbishop Nelson J. Perez. The brothers, 2 years apart in age, are the sons of Dave Bollinger, a concrete security inspector, and Karen Bollinger, a software project manager. The two brothers attended Sunday Mass with their parents and 2 sisters at their home parish, St. Agnes in Selleville, Pennsylvania. Even though Dave was not Catholic, he attended the Mass with his family and supported his son's decisions. Michael, the elder, entered seminary after graduating from Virginia Tech. While studying at St. Charles Borromeo Seminary in Philadelphia, he supported his younger brother Robert, who was also discerning a vocation to the priesthood. Robert joined seminary after finishing high school. Meanwhile, Michael encountered the Neo-Catechumenal Way and spent several years doing missionary work with the movement. By the time he transferred to the Redemptoris Mater Archdiocesan Seminary in Newark, the seminary affiliated with the Neo-Catechumenal Way, he and Robert were at the same point in their formation. Father Robert Bollinger celebrated his first solemn Mass of Thanksgiving on Sunday, May 18th at their home parish. He was also able to con-celebrate the first Mass of his brother, Father Michael. In an interview with Jersey Catholic, Father Michael said, quote, "Grace was the starting point and the carrying force that led me throughout all the years of discernment," end quote. Father Robert, in an interview with Catholic Philly, encouraged those discerning a vocation to talk about it out loud with others to gain a broader perspective, and added, quote, "This vocation will definitely change one's life," end quote.
That's all for today. Until we meet again, God bless and thank you.